All right, welcome back to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
So we are, what, 7 weeks in now? And if you've been with us this whole time, you know exactly what we're doing here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not a spreadsheet anymore. We're past that.
Not at all. It feels like we're watching a collision of, I don't know, football physics. It's the only way you can describe it.
That's a good way to put it. We are wrapping up week 7 of a season that, it just shouldn't exist.
Right. A league where you have the 1984 Miami Dolphins trading blows with the 1998 Denver Broncos.
And the 85 Bears are trying to figure out how to stop the 99 Colts. I mean, the dust is finally settling on this first half of the season.
And the picture it's painting is, well, it's chaotic.
Chaos is the only word for it. It is absolute pandemonium out there.
It is.
We've moved past the what-if stage of this whole experiment. Now we're deep into the holy cow, this is actually happening stage.
Right. I mean, we established the premise back in week 1. We knew we were going to see eras collide. But knowing it intellectually and, seeing it actually play out on the field,
Totally different.
that is a different animal entirely. You look at the standings right now and it just feels like a fever dream.
It does. Because when you look at these matchups on paper, before the games are played, you have these preconceived notions.
Of course, based on history.
Based on history, exactly. You think, okay, the 85 Bears defense is invincible. They're the 46 defense. They destroy worlds.
The monsters of the Midway, the legend.
Or you think the 84 49ers are the perfect machine, Bill Walsh's masterpiece. But then you put them on the field against a team from 15 years in their future or their past, and all the variables change.
The speed changes, the schemes clash in ways we just didn't expect.
We really didn't.
And that is our mission today. We are going to unpack the madness of these first 7 weeks. We need to figure out who is for real, who is just riding a nostalgia wave, and who, frankly, is embarrassing themselves.
And there are a few of those.
Because there's some absolute legends out there looking very, very mortal right now.
And conversely, there are some names that history might have, forgotten or at least undervalued, who are looking like absolute legends in this format.
We will get to him in a bit. I know exactly who you're talking about, and it is the weirdest, most incredible stat line I have ever seen.
It doesn't look real.
It really doesn't. But first, let's just set the landscape. Week 7 is in the books. If you look at the standings, it is a dead heat almost everywhere. This isn't a situation where one era is just wiping the floor with the other.
No, it's really balanced. In the AFC, you've got a dogfight in the East.
A total dogfight.
The 84 Dolphins and the 99 Colts are both sitting there at 5-2.
That's Dan Marino versus Peyton Manning for the division crown. I mean, that's the dreamy quarterback matchup everyone wanted to see.
Oh, yeah. I would pay good money just to watch that practice week.
Just to see the ball spin.
Exactly. And then over in the Central, it's the Battle of Ohio. You've got the 86 Browns and the 88 Bengals, both 5-2.
Which is fascinating because those are two very different styles of football.
Completely different. You have the Kosar-led Browns, very cerebral, very methodical.
Right.
Versus that Boomer Esiason Bengals offense, which was, practically inventing the no huddle on the fly.
Yeah, the hurry up offense. Then you swing over to the NFC. The 98 Vikings are the pace setters. They are sitting at 5-1, just dominant.
You look unstoppable.
But the NFC West,
Yeah.
that is a bloodbath.
A total bloodbath. You have the 98 Falcons and the 84 49ers, both at 5-2, just pounding on each other.
Okay, so let's unpack this properly. We have the powerhouses, we have the teams that are just lighting up the scoreboard. And I think we have to start with the team that is currently holding the best winning percentage in the league.
You have to.
The 1998 Minnesota Vikings.
They're the gold standard right now. Sitting at 5-1, winning over 83% of their games. And it's not just that they are winning, it's how they are winning. They are overwhelming people.
It feels like they are playing a different sport sometimes.
Yeah.
It really does. And it starts with the quarterback, right? Randall Cunningham.
It does. And you have to remember, in 98, this was a career renaissance for him. He had been out of football, he came back, and he was supposed to be the backup quarterback.
Right, Brad Johnson gets hurt and he steps in.
He steps in, and look at the numbers through 7 weeks here. He has thrown 19 touchdowns. 19! Against only 6 interceptions. His passer rating is sitting at 107.3.
That is MVP caliber stuff. But I have to ask, is this just Randall being Randall, running around, making plays happen with his legs, or is there something more structural happening here?
Oh, it's very structural. You have to look at who is catching the ball. And the answer is wearing jersey number 84.
Randy Moss.
Randy Moss. I've been analyzing the receiving stats, and what Moss is doing is, frankly, it's unfair. He has 33 receptions, which is a lot.
It is, yeah.
But he has turned that into 654 yards.
Hold on, let me do the math in my head. That's nearly 20 yards a catch.
19.8 yards per catch, to be precise.
Good Lord.
And he has scored 9 touchdowns in 7 games. He is averaging more than a touchdown a game.
That is absurd. It's like he's playing against high schoolers. But why is he dominating this much? I mean, we have legendary defenses in this league. Why can't the 84 49ers or the 85 Bears just, put a guy on him and shut him down?
This is the absolute crux of the era collision. Think about how defensive backs played in the early to mid-'80s.
Physical.
Extremely physical. It was bump and run. The whole philosophy was, I'm going to get my hands on you at the line of scrimmage, disrupt your timing, and just beat you up for 60 minutes.
Right. The Mel Blount rule was in effect, but it was still a brawl out there?
It was a brawl. But here's the problem. You cannot press Randy Moss.
You just can't.
If a cornerback from 1985 tries to jam Randy Moss at the line, and he misses that jam by even a fraction of a second, Moss is gone.
Just gone.
He runs a 4.2. He has a stride length that just eats up cushion instantly. So these defenses are terrified. They're realizing that their standard operating procedure getting physical is actually a death sentence against this specific receiver.
So they have to back off. They have to play soft.
They have to. They're playing their safeties 20 yards deep. They're playing soft zones, trying to keep everything in front of them. And that changes the entire geometry of the field.
Which explains why the Vikings are tied for the league high in scoring with 205 points. If you have to back the safeties up to stop Moss from going over the top, what does that open up underneath?
You get gashed. You have Robert Smith running the ball. He's got 424 yards, averaging 5.0 yards a carry.
5 yards a carry.
Why? Because there is one less safety in the box to make a tackle. You have Chris Carter underneath with 25 catches working the middle of the field. He's catching 8-yard hitches all day long because the corners are bailing out at the snap, terrified of getting beat deep.
It's a total pick-your-poison offense.
It is. But the defensive stat that jumps out at me from Minnesota isn't points allowed, it's turnovers. Their defense has snagged 11 interceptions.
Oh, wow. That seems high for a team that scores this much. You wouldn't think they'd be on the field that long.
See, that's the synergy. That's how it works together. The offense scores, and they score fast. The opponent falls behind by 10, 14 points.
And they have to start throwing.
They have to throw to catch up. They become one-dimensional. And the Vikings defense, guys like John Randall, they just pin their ears back. And the secondary sits in coverage. Hitchcock has 5 interceptions just by himself.
5.
5. It's a perfect ecosystem of winning football. They force you to play their game, and their game is a track meet that you were not equipped to win.
It sounds terrifying to play against, but if there is one team that might not be scared of track meet or maybe, wants to turn it into a wrestling match, it's the juggernaut out in the AFC West. The 1998 Denver Broncos.
The defending champs.
They're sitting at 5-2, and while Minnesota is doing it through the air, Denver is just physically beating people up. But it's a different kind of physical, isn't it?
It is. It's the zone run game. It's Terrell Davis.
The league leader in rushing touchdowns.
By a wide margin. He has 12 rushing touchdowns in 7 games. He's got 801 rushing yards, and he's averaging 5.8 yards per carry.
5.8. That's his average. That's basically 6 yards every single time he touches the ball.
That is his average. So essentially, every time you hand him the ball, you're getting more than half of a first down.
That wears a defense down.
It keeps the chains moving. It keeps the opposing offense off the field, and it absolutely grinds defenses into dust over the course of a game.
I want to pause here because we throw around terms like zone run a lot. But for the listener who maybe doesn't have a coaching degree, what makes the 98 Broncos running game so different from, say, the 85 Bears running Walter Payton or the 84 49ers? Why is it working so well here?
That's a great question. In the 80s, running plays were often about man blocking or gap blocking.
Right. You block the guy in front of you.
You block the guy in front of you, and the running back hits a specific designed hole. It's very, power football. I go through the A-gap, you block the linebacker, boom. The Broncos in the late 90s, under their offensive line coach, Alex Gibbs, they perfected the zone blocking scheme. The entire offensive line steps in unison in one direction. They aren't blocking specific men initially. They are blocking an area, a zone.
So it's more about movement.
It's about creating this lateral flow. The defense has to flow with them or they get outflanked. It's like a wave crashing on the shore.
I like that analogy.
And Terrell Davis was the absolute master of the one cut. He presses the line of scrimmage, he waits for a defender to get curious and over-pursue, and then he just sticks his foot in the ground and cuts back against the grain.
And against these older defenses.
Against these older defenses from the 80s that are used to that man-gap style, this lateral movement is confusing. It's disorienting. They are overrunning plays constantly. They flow too fast, Davis cuts back, and suddenly he's in the secondary untouched.
So it's almost like the offensive line is using the defense's aggression against them.
Precisely. And that's why they are 5-2. Now, they did just have a heartbreaker in Week 7. They lost a tight one to the 84 Dolphins, 27-24.
They did, and we'll talk more about that game later because it was an absolute classic. But even in the loss, look at Davis's stat line. He ran for 152 yards and a touchdown.
So even when you manage to beat them, you don't actually stop them.
You really can't stop them. You just hope to outscore them, which is what Miami did.
And that's the interesting contrast between Minnesota and Denver,
Yeah.
right? Minnesota is the air raid, quick strike lightning. Denver is the rolling thunder. They have John Elway, who is efficient enough he can make plays. But this offense runs through Terrell Davis. And right now, I don't know if anyone in the AFC has the defensive front to stop it consistently.
Well, speaking of running the ball and efficient quarterbacks, we have to look at the NFC West. Because you have two teams there that are, in a way, mirror images in terms of success, but they're doing it with completely different styles. The 84 49ers and the 98 Falcons. Both are sitting at 5-2.
This is going to be the race to watch down the stretch.
Yeah.
The 84 49ers, I mean, this is Bill Walsh. This is the West Coast offense in its purest form. They just demolished the 91 Lions 36-17 in Week 7.
Which, to be fair, everyone seems to be demolishing the Lions right now.
That's true, and we will get to Detroit's misery later. But Montana is operating at a surgeon's level, a 93.1 rating. He's just taking what the defense gives him.
And what people forget about that 84 team is the balance.
Exactly. We think of Montana throwing slants to Dwight Clark, but they have Wendell Tyler rushing for 5.8 yards a carry.
Same as Terrell Davis.
Same as Terrell Davis. And you have Roger Craig coming out of the backfield. He's a matchup nightmare for linebackers from any era. They have scored 203 points so far.
Which is almost exactly what Minnesota scored there at 205.
Right. So everyone is talking about the Vikings offense, this unstoppable force, but the 84 Niners are putting up nearly identical numbers. It's just quieter, it's more methodical.
It's dinking and dunking, slants and flats, until suddenly they hit you with a big plate of Jerry Rice's. Well, not Jerry Rice yet, Dwight Clark.
Exactly. It's death by 1,000 cuts.
Whereas their division rival, the Falcons, feels more like death by a sledgehammer.
The Dirty Birds. The 98 Falcons.
They are grinding teams into dust. Jamal Anderson leads the entire league in rushing yards with 816.
The Dirty Bird dance is getting a lot of airtime in this league.
Yeah.
But look at the volume there. He has 169 carries already. That is a heavy, heavy workload for 7 games.
It is, but he's handling it. He's a big back. He's physical.
He is.
It's interesting because the Falcons aren't blowing people out the way the Vikings are. They're winning ugly, aren't they?
They are comfortable in the mud. They won a 17-14 game. And here is the expert insight on this division race. The Falcons have the edge on defense. They have allowed only 128 points this season. The 49ers have allowed 161.
That is a pretty significant difference.
It is. That's almost 5 points a game. The Falcons shorten the game with Anderson, and their defense keeps the score low. They do not want to get into a shootout. The 49ers want to get into a rhythm, maybe a track meet if they have to.
So when those two teams meet,
It's going to be a fascinating clash of philosophies. Can the West Coast finesse beat the Dirty Bird grind? I can't wait to see it.
I love it. Okay, so we've got the powerhouses established, but I want to pivot to something that has been blowing my mind all week.
I think I know where you're going with this.
We have this league filled with Hall of Famers. We have Marino. We have Montana. We have Elway. We have Brett Favre. We have Brett Favre throwing passes.
We do. And a young Peyton Manning is in there, too.
Right. So if I asked you who has the highest quarterback rating in the league right now, you'd probably guess one of them. Or maybe Cunningham, given the season he's having.
You would. Logic dictates it has to be one of those guys.
And you would be completely wrong. Because
Yeah.
the highest quarterback rating in this league belongs to Neil Lomax of the 1984 St. Louis Cardinals.
It is the statistical anomaly of the season. It makes no sense on the surface.
Let's unpack this stat line because it just doesn't look real. Neil Lomax, a 117.0 passer rating.
That is nearly perfect
Yeah.
in any era.
He is completing 70% of his passes. He's thrown 213 times and completed 149 of them. He has 16 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions.
Context is so key here. In 1984, completing 70% of your passes was virtually impossible. The rules were different. Defenders could mug receivers all the way down the field.
Yeah, it was a different game.
And yet, here is Neil Lomax operating the St. Louis offense like he's playing a video game on easy mode.
So why? I mean, Lomax was a good quarterback, a pro bowler, but he's not usually mentioned in the same breath as Montana and Marino.
Right.
What is happening in this simulation that's allowing this?
It's the scheme and the supporting cast that people forget about. The '84 Cardinals had a very potent offense. They had Roy Green, who was one of the first true modern wide receivers. He was big, he was fast, he had great hands.
Okay.
And they were running a version of the Air Coryell offense, very similar to what the San Diego Chargers did. It was vertical, it was aggressive.
But usually vertical offenses have low completion percentages. Lots of deep shots, lots of incompletions. Lomax is at 70%.
And that's where he's special right now. He's checking down when he needs to. He's finding the soft spots in these zone defenses that are more common in the 90s teams he's facing. He's playing in what I'm calling surgeon mode.
Surgeon mode. I like that.
Now, compare him to Dan Marino on the '84 Dolphins. Marino is leading the league in passing yards with 2,130. He leads the league in touchdowns with 18. He is the volume king.
He's in gunslinger mode. He's just chucking it all over the yard.
Exactly. He believes he can make any throw. But Marino has also thrown 10 interceptions. He's taking risks. He's forcing the ball into double coverage because he believes in his arm. Lomax isn't doing that. He is taking what the defense gives him. He is not making mistakes. And he is deadly accurate.
And because of that, the '84 Cardinals are 4-3. They are very much alive in the NFC East race, largely because he is playing completely out of his mind.
It's keeping them in games they arguably shouldn't be in. Just this past week, in Week 7, they lost a tight one to New England 15-17, but Lomax didn't throw a pick. He kept them competitive right to the end. If he keeps this up, the Cardinals are a legitimate dark horse.
It's unbelievable. Now, on the flip side of the efficiency coin, we have a young gun who is making a massive splash. Peyton Manning, the 1999 version.
The sophomore Peyton. This isn't the rookie year where he set the interception record. This is the year he really figured it out.
He has the Colts at 5-2, tied with Marino's Dolphins for the division lead. And in Week 7, he went into the RCA Dome against the Raiders and just dissected them.
Yeah, a 28-17 win. He threw 3 touchdowns, looked completely in command.
He did.
What stands out to me about Manning in this simulation is that he already has that command at the line of scrimmage. He's pointing out linebackers, he's changing plays, he's identifying the blitz before the snap.
The pre-snap stuff is already there.
It's all there. And he's connecting with Marvin Harrison, who already has 838 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns, and he's leaning on Edgerrin James.
Well, has 670 rushing yards. That's the part people forget.
It's the birth of the triplets. And unlike the '84 Dolphins, who were relying almost entirely on Marino's arm to do everything, the '99 Colts have that balance. Edgerrin James is a massive factor. He allows them to run the ball effectively, which sets up the play action for Manning.
So Manning doesn't have to throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns for them to win.
Exactly. He just needs to be efficient. And right now, with a 98.9 rating and 15 touchdowns to 7 picks, he's doing exactly that. He's kind of the bridge between the old school and the new school. He has the volume, but he also has the efficiency.
It's a scary combination. So, okay, we've talked about the legends, we've talked about the surprises, but we have to go to the dark side now.
The disappointments.
We have to talk about the teams that are breaking hearts, the what on earth is going on segment, because there is one team that I think everyone circled on their calendar before the season started. The 1985 Chicago Bears, the Super Bowl shuffle, the greatest defense of all time.
The 46 defense, Buddy Ryan, the monsters of the Midway, all of it.
They are 2-4. They are sitting near the bottom of the NFC Central. And in Week 7, I don't even know how to say this politely, they got destroyed.
It was a disaster. They lost 38-10 to the San Diego Chargers, the '81 Chargers.
38 points. The 85 Bears, the team that allowed basically 0 points in the playoffs in real life, gave up 38 points to Dan Fouts.
This is where the collision of eras discussion gets really interesting and frankly really technical.
Yeah.
The '81 Chargers, led by Dan Fouts and that Air Coryell offense, they are the schematic antithesis of what the Bears want to see.
Break that down for us. Why is the 46 defense, this legendary unit, struggling so much against these passing attacks?
Okay, so the 46 defense is built on pure, unadulterated chaos. It puts 8 men in the box. It covers the center and both guards with defensive linemen. It's designed to crush the run and to overwhelm the quarterback with blitzers before he can even think.
Right. They want to hit you before you can take your 3-step drop.
Exactly.
Right.
But to do that, you have to leave your cornerbacks on an island. It's man-to-man coverage with very little safety help. because the safeties are either in the box or they're blitzing.
Okay.
Against a standard 1985 offense that wants to run the ball, that works. But against Dan Fouts, or against these modern spread concepts we see from the 90s teams, it's suicide.
Because Fouts just gets rid of the ball too fast.
Too fast and too accurately. The Chargers spread the field. They put 4 receivers out there. If the Bears blitz 6 guys, Fouts just takes the snap and throws a quick slant to Kellen Winslow or John Jefferson into the space where the blitzer just came from.
So the blitz never gets home.
The Bears can't get home fast enough, and once the ball is in the air, the Bears' corners are one-on-one in open space against elite Hall of Fame level receivers.
And clearly it worked. 38 points is a lot of open space. But the bigger issue for Chicago, the thing that's really shocking, seems to be the other side of the ball.
It is. Because look, the defense, despite that bad week, has actually been okay overall. They've allowed 132 points on the season, which is respectable. It's not 85 dominance, but it's middle of the pack.
Not great, but not the reason they're 2-4.
No. The problem is the offense. They've only scored 108 points.
That is anemic.
It's bad. In that Week 7 game against the Chargers, Jim McMahon went 5 for 18 passing.
Ouch. 5 completions in a whole game.
5 for 18 for a grand total of 48 yards.
You cannot win professional football games completing 5 passes. I don't care what era you're from.
You can't. And Walter Payton's sweetness himself was held to 32 yards rushing.
So if you can't run and you can't pass...
You lose.
Yeah.
And you lose badly. Right now, the 85 Bears are in serious danger of falling out of the playoff race entirely. They are looking like a relic. A team built for a different time, a time when you could win 10-7. But in this league, with the Vikings scoring 30 and the Broncos scoring 30, the Bears just don't have the horsepower to keep up.
It's a real shock. Now, speaking of teams that can't keep up, we have to pour one out for the 1991 Detroit Lions.
The tragedy of the season for sure.
They are 0-7, the only winless team left in the league. And it hurts because you look at the box score and you see one name just trying his heart out.
Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders.
Barry is trying. He really is. He has 438 yards, averaging 4.4 a carry. He scored 5 touchdowns. He is doing his part. He is dancing, spinning, making 3 people miss in the backfield just to get back to the line of scrimmage for a 1-yard gain.
But the team around him, it's just a mess.
It's crumbling. The defense is catastrophic. They have allowed a league-worst 224 points.
Wow.
That is over 30 points a game they're giving up.
You can't ask Barry Sanders to score 35 points a game by himself, especially not with the quarterback situation they have with Rodney Peete and Eric Kramer.
You can't. In Week 7, they played the 84 49ers and lost 36-17. Wasn't even that close. They are consistently getting blown out. And it raises an important question for this whole experiment. In a league this competitive, can a one-man army survive?
And the answer so far is a resounding no.
A resounding no. The 91 Lions relied heavily on that run-and-shoot offense. But without a defense to give them the ball back, they are just getting run off the field week after week.
It's tough to watch. And briefly, I want to touch on one more team that's struggling, the 90 Buffalo Bills. They are sitting at 3-4.
The struggle bus.
They are. But there were some signs of life in Week 7, right? They beat the Seahawks 28-17. Jim Kelly finally looked like Jim Kelly.
He did. He threw for 282 yards. The K-Gun offense finally found a rhythm. And Thurman Thomas had a decent game. They looked competent for the first time in a while.
But look at their division. They're staring up at the 5-2 Dolphins and the 5-2 Colts. Climbing out of a 3-4 hole when you have those 2 juggernauts ahead of you, that is an uphill battle, a steep one.
It feels like they're fighting for a wild card spot at best right now.
At best.
Absolutely. They need to string wins together immediately. They can't afford another slip-up for the rest of the season, probably.
Okay, let's pivot to the action on the field, because Week 7 gave us 2 games that I think really define the season so far. First, let's talk about the shootout in the NFC East. The 1980 Philadelphia Eagles versus the 1986 New York Giants.
A classic NFC East rivalry, but played across time. This is what this league is all about.
And the score was Eagles 42, Giants 21.
Shocking. Just shocking.
The Eagles were 1-4 coming into this game. They were desperate. The Giants were 3-2, boasting that Lawrence Taylor defense, the Big Blue Wrecking Crew. And the Eagles just hung 42 on them.
It was a Ron Jaworski show. Jaws just exploded.
Yeah.
He went 21 for 37, 252 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
4 touchdowns against the 86 Giants defense? How does that happen? How do you score 42 points on that unit?
It was a schematic failure by New York, a complete breakdown. The Giants defense, which is supposed to be one of the greatest units ever assembled, gave up 14 points in the first quarter and another 14 in the second.
So they were down 28-14 at halftime.
At halftime. Lawrence Taylor, Harry Carson, Carl Banks.
Yeah.
And they gave up 28 points in half.
Unbelievable.
They got out-leveraged. The Eagles under Dick Vermeil used a lot of motion. They used Wilbert Montgomery, who caught a TD and ran for one, to stress the linebackers laterally. If LT rushed upfield, they threw a screen behind him. If the linebackers dropped back into coverage, they ran a draw play.
And they had that one huge mismatch.
Harold Carmichael. The man is 6'8". He had over 100 yards receiving. The Giants' corners, guys like Elvis Patterson, they just couldn't handle the size mismatch on the outside.
It proves that even the 86 Giants are vulnerable if you can protect the quarterback long enough for him to throw.
That's the key. Jaws had time. The Eagles' offensive line played the game of their lives. They chipped LT, they kept him off the quarterback's back, and Jaws carved them up.
That win might have saved the Eagles' season. They're 2-4 now. They're still alive. But the Giants falling to 3-3, that really muddies the waters in the NFC East.
It does. The Giants are now looking up at the Redskins and the Cardinals. They are in the bubble mix. They are not the dominant force we thought they would be.
Not at all. Now let's get to the heavyweight bout. This was the game everyone was watching in Week 7. The 1984 Miami Dolphins versus the 1998 Denver Broncos at Mile High Stadium.
Elway versus Marino. The sheriff versus the arm. This is why we do this.
And it delivered. Final score, 27-24, Miami takes it.
This was a massive statement win for Miami. They went into Denver, a place where the 98 Broncos rarely lost in their time, and they outscored them.
Marino was just Marino, 321 yards, 4 touchdowns.
He was spectacular, but he also threw an interception. It wasn't perfect, but it was prolific. Mark Duper had over 100 yards. And Woody Bennett.
Woody Bennett, the fullback, he caught 3 touchdown passes.
3. Coming out of the backfield, that's the brilliance of the 84 Dolphins offense under Don Shula. Everyone worries about the Marks brothers Duper and Clayton going deep.
Right, you have to respect that speed.
So the safeties bail out,
Yeah.
the linebackers drop deep to help out on the seams, and suddenly the flats are wide open. Woody Bennett is just leaking out of the backfield, and Marino, with that lightning-quick release, finds him. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown.
It's simpler than it looks, isn't it? It's just exploiting space.
It's all about spacing. Marino's release is so fast that even if you read the play correctly, the ball is there before you can react.
But what's fascinating here is that Denver didn't play poorly on offense. Not at all.
No, not at all. Terrell Davis was an absolute monster.
He had 18 carries for 152 yards and a touchdown. He averaged 8.4 yards per carry.
Think about that for a second. 8.4 yards. Almost a first down every single time he touched the football. The Dolphins' defense could not stop the run. They had no answer for it.
So why did they lose? If your guy runs for over 150 yards and averages over 8 up a carry, you usually win that game.
Turnovers. At the end of the day, it almost always comes back to turnovers. John Elway threw 2 interceptions. In a game decided by 3 points, those 2 possessions are the entire difference. Marino took care of the ball just a little bit better, and the Dolphins capitalized in the red zone. One of Elway's picks happened deep in Miami territory. That's at least 3 points off the board right there.
And that's the ball game. That one win keeps Miami tied for the AFC East lead. It proves their offense can score on anyone, anywhere, even an elite Denver defense.
It does. And for Denver, it's a wake-up call. It tells them you can run for 150 yards and still lose if you turn the ball over against Dan Marino.
Yeah.
You cannot give that man extra possessions.
You just can't. So we've passed the midway point. Week 7 is done. We have a good sample size now. It's time to put our reputations on the line.
Okay,
Let's look at the playoff picture.
let's do it. And a reminder for everyone listening, the format is the division winners, plus the top 3 wildcards from each conference. 6 teams per conference make it in.
Okay, let's start with the NFC. Who are your locks? Who is definitely in?
The Minnesota Vikings at 5-1 are a lock. Unless Randall Cunningham gets hurt, nobody is catching them in the Central. They are too explosive.
Agreed.
The Bears and Lions are out of it. The Packers are good, but they aren't catching Minnesota. The road to the Super Bowl in the NFC goes through the Metrodome.
I think that's safe to say. What about the West?
In the West, I think both the 49ers and the Falcons, who are both 5-2, are making it. One will win the division. The other is going to be a very, very scary 5 seed. They are just better than the rest of the field right now. Their point differentials are massive.
So that's 3 spots gone already in the NFC. What about the bubble? Who's fighting for those last 3 spots?
The NFC East is a total mess. The 91 Redskins are leading at 4-2, so they currently hold the 4 seed as the division winner. They are a solid, well-rounded team. But the 84 Cardinals at 4-3 and the 86 Giants at 3-3 are breathing down their necks.
Don't forget the 95 Dallas Cowboys. They are 3-4, which isn't great, but they have Aikman, Emmett, and Irvin. You can't count them out of a division race.
True, Dallas has the talent to go on a run, but they have been so inconsistent. And then in the Central, look at the 96 Packers. They are 4-3. Favre is throwing picks, but he's also throwing touchdowns. They are right there fighting for that last wild card spot.
Is there a team lurking that scares you? A team that might spoil the party for one of these bubble teams?
The 99 St. Louis Rams.
The greatest show on turf?
They are 4-2. We haven't talked about them much today, but Kurt Warner has 1,805 yards passing. Marshall Faulk is doing Marshall Faulk things, leading the league in yards from scrimmage. They are sitting right behind the 49ers and Falcons in the West.
And their offense is just as dangerous as Minnesota's.
It is. If Warner gets hot, and we know he can, they could easily steal a wild card or even the division if the others stumble. You do not want to see that offense in January.
No, you do not. Okay, let's flip to the AFC. Who are the locks over there?
The 98 Broncos, even with a loss, are a lock in the West at 5-2. They are 2 games clear of the field already. The Chargers are 3-3. The Chiefs and Seahawks are struggling. Denver owns that division. They are the class of the West.
The Central looks like a brawl, but a 2-team brawl.
It is. The 86 Browns are 5-2, and the 88 Bengals are 5-2. I think they are both likely making the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Steelers and Ravens are falling behind at 2-4, so mark Cleveland and Cincy down. They will likely split the division title in the top wildcard spot.
So that leaves the East, the war.
Miami at 5-2 and Indianapolis at 5-2.
This is the storyline of the AFC, Marino versus Manning. The old guard versus the new wave.
The loser of this division race is a 100% lock for a wild card. They are both top-tier teams, but they want that home playoff game. They do not want to go on the road in the playoffs.
Right.
Imagine Peyton Manning having to go play in the snow in Cleveland in January. He doesn't want that. He wants the comfort of the dome.
So who is on the outside looking in right now? Who needs to panic in the AFC?
The 81 Chargers are 3-3. They have the offense with Fouts, but can they stop anyone? As we saw against the Bears, they can score, but their defense is very suspect. The 85 Jets are also sitting at 3-3. They need to string some wins together.
And what about the Steelers?
And the 95 Steelers, at 2-4, they are in deep trouble. Neil O'Donnell needs to figure it out fast. The Blitzburg defense isn't generating enough pressure to save that anemic offense.
It is going to be a wild second half of the season. Every game matters now. There's no margin for error.
Absolutely. One slip-up, one bad interception, and you could drop from a 2 seed to sitting on the couch in January.
All right, let's wrap this up. We have passed the midway point of this timeline. The pretenders are fading. Sorry, Lions and Bears fans, it's just not looking good.
The data is starting to separate the elite from the average. What look like surprises are now becoming trends.
And the key takeaway for me through all of this is that the older teams, specifically the 84 Dolphins and 84 Niners, are holding their own against the modern monsters like the 98 Vikings and Broncos.
It proves that greatness translates across eras. Dan Marino would be great in any era. Joe Montana would dissect a 1999 defense just as well as he did a 1984 one. Football is football. Schemes change, speed changes, but execution is timeless.
But I want to leave you and everyone listening with a provocative thought. The 85 Bears are 2-4. If they don't turn it around immediately, are we looking at the greatest on-paper disappointment in the history of simulated sports? We built them up as these football gods, and they are playing like mortals.
It's a distinct possibility. They're being exposed by schematic evolution. The brand of football might just be obsolete in this league.
And on the flip side of that, with Neil Lomax playing like a legitimate Hall of Famer, could the 84 Cardinals be the dark horse that upsets the entire NFC apple cart? I mean, imagine a Super Bowl with Neil Lomax. It could happen.
The numbers say it's possible. Efficiency wins championships. And right now, nobody is more efficient than Neil Lomax. It's a crazy thought, but it's not impossible.
So tell us who your MVP is so far. Is it Terrell Davis just running through everyone? Is it Randall Cunningham in the air show in Minnesota? Or is it the surprising, unbelievable efficiency of Neil Lomax?
My vote is leaning toward Terrell Davis right now.
Yeah.
He's the engine of that entire Denver team. The offense lives and dies with him. But ask me again in Week 10. This could change.
Keep your stats handy because in this league, history changes every single Sunday. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
See you next week.